All right, this is a test. So, my name is Thomas. Last name is Easley, E-A-S-L-E-Y. I'm an artist, a writer, a kid from the mountains, a traveler. Primarily, what I do, or what I try to do, is wake up. I try as much as I can to be here in this moment, talking to you in my studio, and I have a topic for us I would like to discuss and see what you think. I've been an artist for, I think, since 1980, and I've worked in every category from miniature painting on ivory and manuscript illumination on vellum, all the way through classical realism, portraiture, animals, cityscapes, surreal, into figure work and flowers and abstracts, whatever. I've gone through all these different layers trying to wake up, really. Because art is really not an identity. Like our jobs in general are not identities, they're just the work we do. It's the function we perform in society. We all have duties to society, to be here to benefit ourselves and to better the world in some way or produce something. We're all here functioning. And so my principal interest has been, since I was quite young, has been to be more here for it, which requires staying out of my head, away from all the imaginings and memories and things like that I usually see through, into this world, into the reality we're actually in. And so enlightenment basically is just being out of your head and more here, as we are right now having this conversation. In this moment, wherever you are, I'm here in my moment, you're there in yours, wherever we are on this planet, we're all in the same moment, and we're either more here or less here. So taking that into account, that my primary focus of interest of focus, is enlightenment. So that stands behind and motivates all the work I do in different levels. And in that, there has been a consternation for years for me, because one time when I was living in Italy, in Venice, I saw a poster on the end of San Marco Square. And this poster says, "Modern Masters and Old Masters." And the way it came across, which may be just my interpretation, but I don't think so, but basically what happened is I'm thinking, well, there's really no equivalence. I mean, if you took a Leonardo or a Rembrandt or a Titian or a Guardi or a Canaletto or whatever, you put any of these guys up against Picasso or Miro or Pollock or any of these supposed modern masters, there's no equivalence. And so the language is wrong. At least in my view, the language is wrong, the labeling is wrong, the distinctions are wrong. We can like whatever we want, but not noticing or not recognizing or not committing, let's say, formally as a society to the fact that modern masters are not equivalent in skill to old masters. They're just not. And it doesn't mean we don't try, but at the same time, we need to be honest with ourselves about what is and is not professional or skillful work, what is supreme and what is not supreme. We have ratings for everything, from food to restaurants to looks to medicines to whatever. We have ratings, everything. We're measuring everything all the time. Behavior, everything we're measuring. But for whatever reason, and I think it has a lot to do with money, but for whatever reason, let's say, the art market has managed to escape ratings. Anything can be art and anyone can be an artist since, just a little while after World War II. That's kind of been the rule for various reasons, which we can go into also, some of which are fairly, they're covert, let's say, and not what the art market likes to focus on. But in any case, what I finally came to is what I'm calling the Kung Fu ratings. Kung Fu, turns out, which I learned from watching the Marco Polo series, and there's a blind monk, and he's teaching Polo how to defend himself. And he says, do you know what Kung Fu is? So the first thing you think is, Kung Fu Panda or something. But you think martial arts, you think, something other than a worldwide measure, let's say, in all human activity of what is or is not supreme skill. And the moderating or the mediating factor in this is hard work. And so here we have Kung Fu. It means supreme skill from hard work. So I'm thinking, well, if you look at a Pollock painting, you can tell yourself whatever you want about it. Put any words you want there, believe anything you want. But basically, honestly, it's just a bunch of paint squiggled out of the tubes onto canvas. I mean, the amount of skill that took was really small. So if you say he is a modern master and you compare him to Da Vinci or one of these guys, it's not a just comparison, because there's almost no equivalence at all, really, except that they're both using paint and they're calling it art. But there is such a huge difference. And we are not, at least the modern society for the last, 20, 40 years, something like that, we have decided that we are going to measure all these things as subjectively as we possibly can, which means that we are going to make them into whatever we want or can imagine them to be, and call that reality when we're looking at a painting that actually doesn't mean anything. So Kung Fu ratings tell us what the skill level is of a work of art. And for me, because I've been working for 40 years now, I guess, in the artistic world, painting and everything from watercolors and so on. Like I said earlier, I've worked in different mediums, not everything, and there's a lot of new stuff I don't know how to do. And I'm amazed at how beautiful some of this stuff is. But basically, I have hands-on experience with what I'm rating. So I'm going through LinkedIn and anywhere else I can, and I'm suggesting to people that we need to rate works of art according to their skill. And that takes in, for example, if we said that, well, how do you define skill in relation to all that goes into a portrait? I mean, I know at my shows, I have a really flamboyant kind of rooster that I do. It's called the Foul Play series, actually. And they don't take very long to do, those roosters. And so people will ask me, they say, well, how long does this take? I say, well, how long does it take a concert pianist to play a 10-minute recital? So that's kind of our root answer, is that it takes a lifetime of experience to do something simple, or what appears to be simple. That's true of experienced or professional artists, but amateurs can produce the same thing as, an amateur can just take paint and squeeze it out of the tube and mush it around on canvas in different shapes and stuff like that, as much as I can. So there's a great difference in skill, in capacity, but not in the execution, let's say, of that particular thing. So my thinking was, well, okay, if this is going to be a measure, then I put it in 5 categories. So I have no skill, something you see that you can tell just has no skill. If anybody could do it at any time, it just had no skill. So no skill is the bottom. Then you have low skill. Then you have medium skill, and then high skill, and then supreme skill. Supreme skill is like Bernini's Apollo chasing Daphne. It's the Pietà. It's the Mona Lisa, the Night Watch. I mean, there's so many pieces out there that we can refer to that are supreme skill. That we know that the artist, the creator of that work, had to have emotional insight. They had to have training. They had to have skill in handling materials. They had to know about materials. So many things to make those pieces, or any good film, or even a really good piece of music. All of these things that we rate highly have a lot of skill behind them. Whether we like them or not, buy them or not, want them or not, think they're worth it or not, it's a whole nother thing. I'm just talking about what is the skill level it takes, how much is required of the creator of a work of art to produce that particular work, not the whole body of work of a person or an artist, whatever, just individual pieces. What rating do they deserve? Honestly, I mean, if we're looking at, we know the difference between a flat tire and an inflated tire. It's pretty easy to tell. We can look at works of art and it's pretty easy to tell whether or not it's a flat tire or an inflated tire. We don't need reams of explanation written about it to tell us what it means. We can see if we allow ourselves to do that. If we are influenced by what we're told, then of course we're not going to actually see the work through our own eyes. We'll be seeing it through someone else's eyes, and the measure is not going to be accurate, not in relation to us individually. So Kung Fu ratings I'm just trying to get it out there. Why I'm doing this little video and is to try and see what you think. If this is something that we need, that we should respond to, that we should actually honestly rate art. Not just say we like it or don't like it, anything like that. And don't hide behind excuses like anything can be art and how can you measure art and what does art mean? All of that. No, just the very simple, clear fact of how much skill is required to produce something, anything. And in this case, because we're talking about art, I think that ratings should be there, and I'd like to know what you think. So let me know. Bye.